In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His last and beloved Messenger Muhammad, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. This is the 9th part of a series entitled Discoveries from the Quran. And in this series, brothers and sisters, I show, with the guidance of Allah God Almighty, the superiority of the knowledge of Allah in the last revelation to people, the Quran, over the knowledge of people in all branches of knowledge, and how a believer can be a teacher of others by pondering upon the verses of the Quran. Now, among the topics of this 9th part is the one you see on the screen, a discovery from birds, from the description of birds as stated in the Quran. So, if we ponder upon the description of birds in the Quran, we find it in one of the places. We find in chapter 6 verse 38, which reads this translation: "There is not a moving creature on earth, nor a bird that flies with its 2 wings, but are communities like you. Allah God has neglected nothing in the book, then unto their Lord they shall be gathered." So here Allah God Almighty is stating that nor a bird that flies with its 2 wings, but are communities like you. So there is a similarity between birds and the mechanisms Allah installed in birds and us as humans. So you want to discover, explore these similarities and see what great discoveries that Allah teaches us from this. So if we start with the birds, and I will concentrate here on birds' migration. We know that birds, they travel from one place on the earth to another and crossing thousands of miles or thousands of kilometers. And what's interesting that every year they know exactly where to go, exactly. So the question is, what mechanism of mercy that Allah God Almighty installed in the birds such that they can know this? What kind of mercy mechanism that Allah installed in birds? And if you think about it, when they know their destination to the point, of course it's not their vision, because their vision is limited to a certain number of kilometers, but when they know how to travel more than thousands of kilometers, there is another way they can see things. And if you think about it, it's like a compass, it's like a magnetic compass. They know how to go like a compass. So we can link this to the magnetic field of the earth. So we learn that birds, they can know their destination by Allah installed in their body organs that they can sense the magnetic field of the earth, and they align themselves with that field as it goes from season to season, and they know their destination. So they can sense. So in other words, the birds, they can see with the magnetic field. They have another kind of vision, not only their eyes, but they see with the magnetic field. So I hope that's clear. Now the question is, since Allah makes a similarity between the birds and ourselves, I'm asking here, does the human body use magnetic field for guidance as well, our body? Do we have other ways of sensing things other than our eyes? The answer is yes, and that's a great discovery from the Quran. How is that? We can learn the answer as well, how our body uses magnetic field for guidance. He sees with the magnetic field, from pondering upon verse number 4 of chapter 75 of the Quran, which reads, "Yes, Allah God is able to put together in perfect order the tips of His fingers." So Allah is telling us that on the Day of Judgment, Allah is able to reconstruct you even the tips of your fingers. So Allah is drawing our attention to the tips of our fingers. And if we do this, if we ponder upon the tips of our finger, we see that at the end, at the tips of our finger, we have the skin makes certain patterns, as you can see here, certain patterns. And if you think about these patterns, they are very, very similar to the magnetic field lines produced when you have a conductor carrying a current. So when you have a conductor carrying a current like so, it produces a magnetic field lines. And if you think about them, they are very, very similar to how skin is arranged at the tip of your fingers. So we can get information here that there is a magnetic field operating in your body, aligning your skin and your bones. That's a great discovery from the Quran. So I did some computer simulation here, as you can see, and in the computer simulation, the magnetic field lines mapped exactly the bones and muscles and skin of your finger. So again, we learn from this that the way your body aligns itself and sees where it's going using a magnetic field, like the birds, they see their destination using a magnetic field. And you can see why Allah made a similarity between the birds and humans. So it's a very important concept. Another proof of this, if you look at the magnetic field lines in our, for example, upper thigh bone, the femur, the upper part of it, as you can see, these lines, they represent the magnetic fields, these lines right here. As you can see, bone is aligned along these lines. So in other words, as I said, your body knows how to grow following this magnetic field, knows this destination. It's like a framework of magnetic field, and the material, the bone and the muscles, it's aligned on this structure or framework of energy. Okay, so this is a great sign indeed. Now, what practical applications we can learn from this? Knowing that there is a magnetic field in your body, aligning your body. Let's take this example. Now, in biomedical engineering, we have what we call implants. We place, as you can see, metallic screws in bone to attach prosthetic teeth to them. Now, these magnetic kind of implants, this is one of, for example, from titanium. There is a big question, how to know whether the body will accept or reject these implants. What do I mean by acceptance or rejection? Acceptance means that your body will grow in close proximity to the metallic screw, like because in so close proximity, so you have a good contact. Rejection means that your body will not grow around it and will try to shield itself from it. That's rejection. So how to know whether the body will accept or reject something prior to insertion? Because that is very important. Now, knowing from the Quran that there is a magnetic field that aligns the body, so the way your body sees internally using this magnetic field. So the discovery from the Quran is that if you insert a material which is magnetic, meaning it has a strong magnetic field, like a ferromagnetic material, this means that it will interfere with the magnetic field of the body, and this will trigger the body to reject it, to shield it. But if you insert a diamagnetic material, a material which is dead magnetically, it doesn't have that much magnetism inside it, this means that the body will not see it, and this means that it will grow in a close proximity to it. Again, the discovery from the Quran is that in your body there is a magnetic field operating. So if you insert something that will not be seen by the body, meaning that it will have a low magnetic parameters, so the body will grow around it because it doesn't see it that much. But if you have a ferromagnetic material, a very kind of material with highest magnetic properties, the body will see it, and thus it will reject it, try to move away from it. So I did an experiment here to prove this, and here's the experiment. As you can see on the left, we have titanium implant. This shiny kind of metal is titanium. Titanium is a diamagnetic material. It's a material with low magnetic properties. So according to the discovery from the Quran, the body will accept it by not seeing it. It will grow around it. And this is proven exactly. As you can see, this is bone material. It grows in very close proximity to the titanium implant, because basically the body doesn't see it. Now, if we put steel implants, iron is a ferromagnetic material, so the body will see it and will not grow around it, will not reject it. And as you can see, this is a steel or iron screw, and you see there is no bony growth around it, so it was rejected. So this is an experiment that shows that there is a magnetic field in the body, and this is a great discovery in biocompatibility, knowing how the body accepts or rejects a certain material, and it opens doors so many things in trying other materials, low cost, better, kind of easier to manufacture, and you can have this rule from the Quran to know whether the body will accept or reject this material. It opens so many doors. And to know more details about this topic, please visit my website at www.quran-miracle.com. This is the website, and you can email me at zaidquran@gmail.com, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all.